Alright guys, welcome to the video. Today we're going to be looking through Perforce, how to get started in Perforce, and do's and do nots of Perforce when working in our workflow. Alright, so it's the beginning of the day, you're ready to start working the project. First thing we're going to do is we're going to open up the Perforce Visual Client. Make sure you have the proper IP, the proper username, and the proper workspace. If you don't remember your user, you can always hit Browse, it'll give you the list of available users. And if you don't know your workspace, you can hit Browse. It'll give you the list of available workspaces. This is really important for those who share a user. So, for instance, Tyler. If you share a user, Tyler and Chingy, make sure that you're working in your workspace. Hit OK. All right, let's take a look. Over here we have depot view. So this is the server configuration. This is essentially what the server has on it and what it is tracking in the project. So this can be considered the server, and workspace can be considered the client. So in your client, this lists everything that's inside your project locally. So if you were to add files in here, it wouldn't immediately show on the depot until you submitted them. So I'm going to give you a few pointers on what you can do to work inside Perforce. Over here, this red triangle is our pending list, so it'll show any changed assets that are ready to be marked for add or updated. So any changes you make will be stored in this change list, and they can be rolled back via this change list. So what we're going to do now that we're logged into our workspace and we're properly configured is we're going to open the editor. So let's do that real quick. Let's grab our editor from the Epic Launcher. Or you can be a smart cookie and create a shortcut to your desktop, which I should probably do. Just haven't done it yet. So we're going to go over here. We're going to grab our project, pop it open. Standard wait times apply. Alright, we've made it inside our project. Ignore any messages that pop up. And the first thing we do before we even get the ball rolling is we're going to click source control. Make sure that all of this information is accurate here. And the way you can tell it's accurate is if you have your username, your workspace, and you click this button. Even if you don't have your workspace, you can get rid of that. Even if you don't have your workspace typed in, you can click this button. And as long as the Perforce client is open on your computer, you should be able to find your workspace. Make sure to accept your settings if everything's correct. Alright, and our connection to source control is successful. So say we want to make a change to a file. So we're going to go here, we're going to click on this, we're going to hit Control B, which is our shortcut to quick find whatever is selected in your viewport. And let's say we want to make an adjustment to the civilian. Cool. So there's two ways to do this. You can either click it and save it, which will automatically prompt you to check this file out, meaning you're now in possession of it, and you'll be able to make changes to it. If you don't have a file checked out, you cannot make changes to it. So just keep that in mind when you're working in Editor. And what we're going to do is absolutely nothing. We now have the file checked out. So if you want to, you can make your changes here. And if we go back to our Perforce editor, and we just hit refresh really quick, this will turn to red, showing us that, hey, we've got an asset checked out here, and it's ready to be submitted to the server. So say we fucked this asset completely up, and we broke it, and we're like, oh my god, it's broken, the world's ending. Well, that's not the case. As long as it's still here in this file revision, you can right click on this, you can hit revert, and what this will do is roll the file back to its previous state that's tracked on the server. So we'll click revert since we didn't make any changes to it. Cool. Our file is now reverted, and it's back at the head revision. So if we click here, we just hit refresh, we can see that that is no longer checked out. Cool. Let's say you add a bunch of files, right? So we will just, in this case, go here and we'll go to art and we'll create a new material. We'll just keep that there. You can see this has a question mark. Now the reason it has a question mark is because it's not being tracked by Perforce. If you save this, it's automatically tracked by Perforce. However, if we were to add something externally into the project. And let me show you this. If we were to add something externally into the project, right? So we go here and let's just, copy this. We're going to copy this and we're going to paste it. Cool. We have our copy there. Um, Perforce cannot track what happens outside of its integration. So if we come here and we hit refresh, we do have our new material asset here. However, we don't have the new picture that we just duplicated. Well, a quick change to that, or a quick fix for that, is to go here, right click, and we're going to reconcile our offline work. Reconciling your offline work will search your entire workspace for anything that's not in the head revision. It's going to look for it. And we're going to give it a minute to search the entire project directory to make sure that it's not missing anything. Just going to go down here and clear this log real quick and give Perforce the time it needs. So we can actually see that that file is right there. Cool. Now, if you can see here, there's actually a lot of stuff that one second, I'm having trouble on my end because I don't know if these plugins updated. Oh, so apparently the plugins all updated. And that's okay. So these are all updated. So these are modified files that the Perforce has not detected on its own, but by reconciling, we've detected that there's changes in these files. And here as well, we have other files. We don't want to push any of these. So actually what we're going to do is we're going to click cancel. We don't want to grab any of these folders. The only folders we need are config, content, plugins, and below. As you can see here, this file is not being tracked. What we can do is we click mark for add. Or we can go here, because I know the plugins need to be updated, we're going to go reconcile these files and update them. Cool. Alright, now we have our updated files, so we can see that there's a whole bunch of changes here. And what we're going to do is right click. We don't want this new material either, so we're going to revert this back. We're going to revert it, and in the editor, if we just hit refresh on that, it turns back to a question mark. We can delete it because it's not being tracked by Perforce. We don't need it. Cool. And we're going to go in here, and we're going to submit or change. Now this is going to push this to the head revision, or the server revision, and it will basically update everybody's files once they get the latest. So here's what we've done. So we've updated the plugins to the latest version. And we're going to submit that. And our server is going to push, push, push. And all done. Cool. And that is your basic tutorial on Perforce. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to reach out to me.